It's the ESCtips.com Eurovision Preview Podcast. Join us as we sort this year's contenders from the duds.
Attention, you are now entering a fanboy-free zone.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're listening to this. Welcome, bienvenue, willkommen, bienvenidos, velkommen, benvenuti, benvindo, tervetuloa. And if you're from Georgia, I'm planning on visiting your wonderful country this year. Who do I have to plug to get free accommodation? I mean, Missa Salmebelli to the first ever ESCtips.com podcast about the Finnish national selection for Eurovision, Uuden Musiikin Kilpailu, or UMK for short. My name is Andy Redfern, at ScandyAndy on Twitter. And who do we have today? Well, the old reliable, an old and valued friend, and a completely new and exciting guest. First up, we have the head honcho, the owner and main writer behind ESCtips.com. Every year he travels to Eurovision, and every year he makes a substantial profit on betting on which songs will do well and which songs will not do well. He is Gavin Lambert, the Gavster. Welcome, Gav.
Hello, welcome back, Andy, I should say to you.
Yes, sorry, commitments of work and stuff. I'm officially at work as we're saying this, but so please cut that one out, Gav. Are you looking forward to the UMK final this weekend?
It's almost priorities this week. You've got Norwegian final, you've got Melody Festival and Heat 4, which is very important because that could decide a lot of things. And then, yes, you do have the Finnish national final, which I do have a small interest in. Okay,
well, you can reveal who you have the small interest in later. Our next guest is the old and valued friend. He has commentated in 2 languages on the Eurovision Song Contest. In fact, he's absolutely encyclopedic about Eurovision. He's a freelance broadcaster, and he's currently started a new project to write a blog page about every single Eurovision song that has ever been recorded. Welcome from Helsinki, Tobias Larsson.
Well, thank you. I really thoroughly enjoyed that, apart from the way you used the word old. That felt a little bit, out of place. But otherwise, the whole introduction was very nice, thanks. Yes, and this new blog project is a little bit insane and is planned to take a few years. But yes, it's going steadily so far.
So that's alla Eurovisionsbidrag.blogspot.com.
Yes.
Is it not? Or in English, alla Eurovisionsbidrag.blogspot.com.
Yes, and if that's too difficult, just check me out at Tobson Helsinki on Twitter.
Thank you. And just for the record, I would like to point out that Tobias, I might have called him an old and valued friend, but he's not as old as I am. So there you go. And now we move on to the completely new guest. Who is he? Well, he's a radio DJ and host of Yle X3m's breakfast show, 6-morgon. He's a stand-up comedian. He's even been a rapper on the song Drottningen of Åland. And he is the only guest we have ever had to have a Eurovision song written about him. That song was called Marry Me. He eventually took the hint, and so later, sometime in the future, he will be marrying the host of this year's UMK, that is, of course, Krista Siegrids. Welcome, Janne Grönroos.
A big thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Have you managed to see much of UMK? I know that you were in Sweden for some reason a couple of weeks ago, weren't you?
Yeah, I was in Sweden when Krista was competing, but I've seen all the different shows, and we've had some guests from the competition. We're gonna have a guest before the final, I think. We're working on it, so I know pretty much compared to other years. I know really loads this time, so this is fun. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, it's completely our pleasure. Thank you for taking the time. And I believe that you will be playing a small part yourself in UMK this year, will you not?
Yeah, last year I was the head of the Swedish speaking Finns jury, and they thought I did a great job, I guess. So they invited me this year again. So I'll be in one of the small jury groups.
Excellent. And how is Krista bearing up under the strain? She must have been the hardest working person in Eurovision this winter.
Well, she is actually in the kitchen rehearsing the final show number for the final on Saturday. So if you hear some singing or something, then it's her. I don't know what she's doing because I'm not allowed to know. So it's very secretive over here.
Okay. Gav, keep recording. We might get an ESCtips exclusive. Okay, well, the final will take place this Saturday in Helsinki. It will be on Yle 2, Yle 2, at 7 o'clock British time and 9 o'clock Finnish time. And there are 9 hopeful entrants. These are, in running order, Sara Aalto with No Fear, Stella Christine, and She Ain't Got Time for Boys. There is Amy with Drama. Crystal Snow says Love is Blind. Annika Milan and Kimmo Blom, Good Enough. Mikael Sari, On It Goes. Tuuli Okkonen, Don't Wake Me Up. The Barbe-Q-Barbies with Let Me Out. And finally, Sandhya with Sing It Away. Let's just discuss them in running order so that, we don't leave anything out. Gav, what's your opinion on Sara Aalto? Does she have anything to fear?
I know when I first listened to it, I thought it kind of stood out because it had the Indian vibe added to it. It was quite a fan favourite, actually, online. But I kind of gone off it. In fact, I was never really fond of it anyway because I thought the chorus didn't really have enough impact. It's got a bit of a Disney intro. Those homoerotic dancers as well, they don't quite work well on the stage show. And it kind of reminds me a bit of Ryan Dolan, who came last at Eurovision with those dancers. And then during the bridge, they kind of pull out these oversized knickers and wave them in the air. So as a package, it doesn't quite work for me. And visually, I don't think it screams winner. And I think in terms of the Betfair market or any of the markets, I think it's actually quite good to oppose it.
Okay, thank you, Gav. Janne, Aalto is Finnish for wave. Is this kind of Katrina and the Waves or waving goodbye?
Well, the thing is with all the finalists, I looked at the live performances, and anybody who can sing live has a good chance because not everyone is good, is a really good live singer, and it's unfortunate, but that's true. If you look at the live clips from the different semifinals, Sara Aalto is an awesome singer, and the song is a bit complicated and hard. I like the beginning when the drum kicks in. It sounds more like a Schlager for me. She is a favorite because she has a lot of fans, and her fans are used to voting for her because she's been in a couple of competitions before. But she's a favorite, maybe not my personal favorite, but it's she could win. I don't really like the song that much, but she's a real good singer, and unfortunately, that helps in this competition.
So possibly people voting for the voice, if not the song. Tobias, what do you think about Ms. Aalto?
Well, at first, when I just heard the songs, when we had the video clips and the studio versions, I was thinking that this was perhaps the song that I would want Finland to send because it's complicated in a good way. I think it's sort of sophisticated. It's a little bit like if Kate Bush had written the soundtrack for Disney's Frozen somehow, that kind of vibe. And nobody wants this more than Sara Aalto. I must say, she really, really wants to go to Eurovision. But that's her problem, as I see it, because for me, she wants it too much. She has the voice, but she can't keep her act together. She gets so frantic on television, and at the end she starts dancing so hard that it affects her vocals, and it's all these kinds of beginner's mistakes, and she's no beginner. She should know better than this. I was so disappointed when I saw her performance in the semi-final. It's nowhere near good enough, and it has grown off me as well. I think Finns are quite sensitive, and I say this despite what Finland selected last year, but Finland is a little bit sensitive when it comes to how Finland comes across internationally. And I don't think if she can't keep her show together on Saturday, she will be gone with the wind, I think.
Gone with the Wind, the Disney Kate Bush. She's clearly got talent, but I think it's probably a thumbs down for Sara Aalto. Okay, following her is Stella Christine with Ain't Got Time for Boys. Tobias, do you have time for boys?
Always, but that's not really. It doesn't really enter into this discussion, I think.
Possibly not. No, that's our late night podcast. Okay.
Yes, let's focus on Stella Christine instead. She was the surprise for me in the first semi-final. I expected Per Ayat to go through to the final instead of her. I'm not unhappy about the way things played out, I must say. My problem here is that she has a nice sort of low-key song, which is no problem, but she has this guitar, in case you haven't seen her perform, she has this big guitar with her on stage, and that's, if you are a singer and you wear a guitar, that guitar needs to become like an extension of yourself, like a part of your body, and you don't get that. It feels like she's hiding behind that. It's like she's like that person, when you get visitors, you run and hide in the bushes because you don't want them to see you. And that's the impression I get from her. She's hiding behind that guitar. I have no idea who she is after 3 minutes, and it's far too anonymous and shark feed on Saturday.
Do you agree with that, Gav?
I do kind of pay tribute to Tobias there, because I didn't get past 3 minutes of this song. It's a bit kind of background music for me. It would probably progress from a Moldovan semi, but would definitely struggle at Eurovision. It's not one for me. I didn't get any hook from it or anything I could take away visually, other than the fact that, as Tobias pointed out, the guitar and quite flat staging as well. So no, not working for me, and I think slot 2 buries it a little bit.
Okay, trying not to think about your Moldovan semi. We'll now move on to Janne. What do you think about Stella?
I thought Stella Christine's performance was, I thought it was sexy, and that's good. The song is, I think it's a good song. It's not maybe the best Eurovision song. You don't remember it that well. It's, as somebody already said, maybe more of a background song when it comes to Eurovision, where everything is a lot of huge shows and so forth. So I don't think it will win. I like it, but it might be in the wrong competition. But I like her. I think she looks good. I think she sings well. It's exciting to listen and watch her in the first competition, when she was in the first semifinal in Finland. But the song is it's a bit grey maybe to make it in the Eurovision.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. I did really quite like this, but yes, I do. It's possibly a bit too, understated to just make itself really be out there, if you see what I mean, to just attract the votes. UMK, Uuden Musiikin Kilpailu. This means new music competition, basically, and the third act isn't particularly an example of new music, possibly. It's Drama by Eini. What do you know about Eini, Janne?
Well, she's the disco queen in Finland. I haven't grown up listening to her because I listened to Swedish-speaking music when I was a kid, mostly. But
racist.
Yeah, thanks. But I think this might come as a surprise for people, or maybe not. But I think she might win. I'm not saying I'm hoping for it, but she might win, because the song is a classic old school Finnish schlager. It sounds a bit like Kaija K, which she's still huge here in Finland. Eini has a huge fan base. If they vote, and if older people vote, she might win, because there's not that many songs to vote for if you're in your 50s, 60s, and so forth, which she is, and looks awesome for being that old. I couldn't see my mom in a dress like that, and I think they're about the same age.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's Mrs. Grönroos's Christmas present sorted anyway. Yeah, I mean, for me, it just reminded me of the kind of thing that you will hear sung in the karaoke on the boat between Finland and Sweden. And I've always said, you know, when I die and go to hell, as I surely will, the soundtrack to my personal hell will be Finnish people doing karaoke on a boat. Tobias. Now, obviously Amy has her fans, her demographic. Will these people necessarily vote on Saturday, though?
No, these people will. But the problem, as we have seen more clearly in Sweden than in Finland, is that the people that constitute the general fan base of Amy, they vote once. They send one vote, and that's nice, and then they think they voted. And while the younger viewers send 20 votes, so it might get a little bit drowned out. That's a problem for her. I just keep thinking. I've been to Eurovision 8 times, 9 times, and I've been to the Euroclub a lot, and I can sort of make a picture for myself what would happen when Amy walks in among all those Eurovision fans. That place will run out of oxygen. Everyone will be like, oh, they will love her to bits. And I mean, I was just thinking that what if she and Calliope from Macedonia would walk in at the same time? The Euroclub would implode. It would, you know... That would be the end of the world as we know it. I love Amy. I think I'm so happy for her to make it to the final, because it means that she's been working, she's been hard working as a performer for as long as I have lived. And now she can probably take quite a lot of more money for her concerts, and she will have more people at her concerts, and it's a great gift to her. I don't think she will win. I think the song, I would want her to end in 4th place, and I think that's pretty 4th, 5th somewhere. That's reasonable, and I think that's about where she will end up somewhere. But I love her to bits.
Thanks very much. Gavin, is this a drama or a crisis?
Do you know what? Actually, just going over some of those points that Janne and Tobias said, it is kind of a schlager. It's almost like the Finnish Linda Bensing. There's a bit more homoerotic dancing going on around her, which I suppose is no bad thing with that type of song. She does have some winners staging with the Curtain of Sparks, so that always works to kind of pick out a potential winner to the TV audience. I don't know, maybe Janne can help us here. What's the marking criteria for the jury?
I'm not sure. I haven't gotten any information about that yet.
What would you, having done it last year, what would you tend to look out for when awarding your marks? Are you looking for something that would do well at Eurovision, or are you just simply looking at vocals and presentation?
Me personally, it has to do good in Eurovision. Me and the rest of the Swedish-speaking jury group gave, I think, our 12 points to Saturn Circus last year, because that was the best song, best vocals, best show, the best package. That's how I gave my points, and that's how I'm gonna do it this year as well. Then again, I don't know how the rest of the juries are gonna give their points and what they look at.
In terms of Aine's young fan coverage, are there any?
I'm not sure. She is a bit of an icon, but as we all said, for the older people. But I looked at they had a poll on the Ilta-Sanomat where they asked who's your favorite. 30,000 people voted, and she got 17% and was second behind Sara Aalto, who had 18% of the votes. Now, of course, that can be old people clicking once and then again not voting, but still it's second place with only 1% less votes than Sara Aalto. Overall, it was quite there was no big fan favorite. They had 12%, Sanja and Mika Saari, and Barbe-Q-Barbies came in with 10%. So it was quite even throughout the field.
And was that poll?
I think also I'd like to add that there is this thing in Finland where these older singers, female singers, have grown a really big fan base also among younger people. I mean, Paula Koivuniemi, for instance, or Katri Helena, they have lots of younger fans as well these days. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that Amy has a huge fan base, but I think that she could actually develop. I think there's a large portion of the audience who are that will find something really touching in the story of an older female performer who gets her shots who finally has her chance of success. People warm to that narrative, and I think that's a good chance for Amy, actually.
But the thing is, I think with the other females they've been in the Vain elämä Så mycket bättre TV show, Katri-Helena, Kajako, and Amy hasn't. So they have a huge fan base now because they sing songs that Cheek and other young people, young artists, they sing their cover versions of those songs, and Amy hasn't been in that program. So I don't know if the young people will fall in love with her, but the storyline is good. It's a good story, but so is Sara Aalto's I'm not going to do Cirque du Soleil, I'm going to do the Finnish Eurovision Song Contest. That's a great story as well.
That's true.
Okay, so that was Drama by Amy. Fourth up is Crystal Snow with Love is Blind. Tobias, can you tell us a bit about Crystal Snow?
Well, Crystal Snow started out as a drag queen, as a sort of more traditional drag queen, and has morphed into more of a comedian, singer, entertainer, kind of ever-present kind of person in a section of Finnish showbiz. And I don't know how much drag he does at all anymore. But he's very present, and last year he was the YLE commentator for Eurovision on TV2. So he's very well known, and sort of he's very vocal about gay rights, etc. in Finland, and which is obvious with this song too, because it's very in your face about gay rights.
Crystal Snow is very vocal in everything he does.
True, yes, very. And as I said, ever-present everywhere. If you have a debate about anything, about the best flavor for ice cream, Crystal Snow will be there and will have a very distinct opinion about it. So, yes, that's an advantage and a disadvantage. Everyone knows who Crystal Snow is, but there is also this feeling that couldn't there be some place in the Finnish media landscape where Crystal Snow is not? Okay,
but what do you think about his song, Tobias?
I think the song is good. I think it would need someone who is a better performer. I mean, he's not a bad singer. He's not a bad performer, but you know, it would need more power, as I see it. There's something in the whole staging and the backing vocalists that, you know, it's almost there, but not completely. It's lacking a little bit. And it's surprisingly low in all the polls I've seen. I thought it would have a bigger fan base than it seems to have. So I think it's good, but not good enough.
Yes, I must admit I'm surprised about the lack of attention that it's got. Gav, what's your outsider's viewpoint on Crystal Snow's song?
It was actually my personal favourite. I quite like the 80s vibe that it's got going. But I do prefer the studio version. I think wasn't there a pre-show on UMK where they studied the recorded versions and the videos, and I think this one came top. And I think they said that it was a kind of an international hit, could do very well. But he can't sing live, or at least until the song goes to the kind of higher range. What I'm not sure about, though, is the staging. I don't think those devil headdresses are quite the right direction. And the kind of deep red black staging, certainly on UK X Factor, black and red, has very negative connotations. And usually when people have that kind of staging, they're exiting that week. And I think the same here. It's just very negative staging and doesn't really pick on the positive sound of the song. You know, it's quite an uplifting pop song. So I think the staging should go more in that direction and less literal. So no, it doesn't. It's not working for me, and that's a shame because there were very good odds available at the start, and it was backed into being one of the favourites. But I don't think it. I think it's chanceless now.
Okay, so fair song, let down by the performance. Would you agree, Janne?
The problem here is I think this might actually be the best song or top 2, 3 in the competition. But I saw the live performance, and I know he's been taking singing lessons, and it was a shame that he didn't hit the notes in the beginning because the last 30 seconds of that song are amazing. If I haven't done my research wrong, I think it's his vocal coach, who sings the high notes in the background in the end, and damn, that woman can sing.
That bit is very good.
Whoa! If the whole song, if the 2.5 minutes before that is better in the final, it might do good. I think it's the best song. I'm glad he stands kind of still and sings, that it's not a big show. I think it's the dramatic, the scenery, everything. But the problem is the singing. If it's pitchy, you can't save it with the last 30 seconds. But if he hits the notes, this might be dangerous because it's a great song.
Janne, you might be able to say, are they planning to kind of up the production quality for the final? Because I think what we've noticed for the live heats is that the camera work hasn't been as impactful, and I guess not all of the singers have brought their A game. Are they planning to take it up a notch for the final?
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard anything from the company or the organizers, but many of the who are in the competition, they haven't performed that much in live TV shows. So they get better every time, every rehearsal, every show. They get and some of them get really much better, and the nerves don't kick in as much, I hope. So I think the show on Saturday will be better than everything we've seen so far, but I don't have any information.
I know we saw it a few years ago, actually, 2013. I think, was it Great Wide North?
Yeah.
That took place, yeah. I mean, I know they started off as kind of very much outsiders, but I think by the final, I mean, other than Krista, their song was one of the best in the final.
Yeah, they were really good, and they got better all the time. But same with Mikael Sari, when they took that sweater off him and put nice looking clothes on him. He was really good in the final as well. I gotta be honest, I don't remember that much of the final because I was watching my phone screen and voting. So, but many of the participants get better during the competition, and that has to do with the experience and that they haven't done many shows like this. Like just taking camera angles and all of this gets better all the time, and that helps. I think. I'm not sure if there's enough time though to save everything, but we'll see.
It's an interesting confession that an Yle employee actually tried to fix the vote in 2013. I think there should be an investigation into that.
I didn't try to fix it. I voted as much as I could and was allowed to, and that's why I didn't ask Krista to marry me, because I couldn't afford rings for a year.
Fair enough. Okay, well, from fair enough to Good Enough by Annika Milan and Kimmo Blom. Gav, is this good enough for you?
This was another one of my favourites, and another one of my early bets. It's quite a formulaic Eurovision duet, and they've been quite calculated with the way that they've written it, but the way they've staged it is, well, not quite right. Usually when duets work, it's because there's some kind of emotional connection between the two of them. And we've kind of found out with Estonia last year is that as soon as you imply that there's some kind of division between the couple, it doesn't work visually, and people don't emotionally invest in it as much. And I think that's apparent here. The staging is a bit too avant-garde and just doesn't work. and it doesn't appear natural either. I'm also slightly disappointed, or was slightly disappointed with Kimmo. Maybe he'll change this week, in that his vocal wasn't as strong as last year when he was this fascist dictator. So you put him in a slightly more lovable role, and he's not really rising to it.
So you preferred his Stalin-esque era?
Yeah, he showed more determination. It suited him better, I think.
Okay, Tobias, what's your thoughts on Good Enough?
Well, I'd like to just connect with a staging thingy. Last year, I was very positive about the way that YLE has tried to make all the entries more visual, because in the past it's been very much up to. I mean, when Krista brought her show along to UMK in 2013, you hardly couldn't believe that something like that happened on Finnish TV, that someone paid that much attention to a performance. And suddenly the YLE got sort of ideas from that, and they are trying very hard to make things visual. It needs to come naturally, though. And here it doesn't. I think this staging is a complete flop. They are so preoccupied with looking into these mirrors, and they don't sing. I don't believe them for a second. First of all, I wasn't very impressed with the song to start with, because I think that it's far too standard to stand out. It's, it's a good radio song, but who would want to vote for it? And especially when its staging is this nondescript and lukewarm as this, I'd say this isn't one of the stronger contenders either.
Thanks for that, Tobias. And finally, Janne, good enough for you?
I like the song. In this competition, I'm not sure I would listen to it otherwise, but if we're talking about Eurovision and especially UMK, I think the song is good, one of the better songs. It really sounds like a classical schlager. Is it an Irish guy who wrote the song? Have I done my research correctly? Does anyone know?
Yes, and a Swedish guy living in Åland, Jonas Gladnikov, who has represented Ireland a couple of times.
Because it sounds like a classic Schlager song. They sing good. I think their voices sound good. You're also very hard on everyone, so I'm trying to be the nice guy. Also, because I listen to all these podcasts when Krista is competing, and I'm always angry at everybody who says something wrong. So I'm just trying to be nice. But I think they sound good. I think the song is good. Unfortunately, I don't think they will win. I think they will end up somewhere in the middle or in the bottom, which is a shame. In their semifinal, they stood out because of their vocals, which I thought were really good. And unfortunately, everybody in that semifinal didn't have great vocals. But in the final, almost everyone is a good singer. All the performances are quite good. So unfortunately, I don't think it will go all the way.
Okay, yeah, for me, yeah, it's just, well, not good enough, quite frankly. It just doesn't, again, it doesn't grab me by the balls, as it were. It's just struck me, actually, that songs 5 to 8, if you just judge a contest from its song titles, it doesn't really kind of, it doesn't bode well for the contest, because we've got Good Enough, great, and then On It Goes, Don't Wake Me Up, and Let Me Out. So that's possibly not the best advert for UMK, which takes us on to number 6, No Man is an Island, apart from Mikael Sari, because Sari means island. On It Goes. Tobias, is this Mikael's year?
Well, it is in the way that most people, I think, had forgotten a little bit about Mikael Sari. They loved him in 2013, and he was the big favorite. It was like him or the Andra, and then Krista came and stole the show. This time around, I think this song is good. It's very well composed, and he sings it excellently. But, and now comes a big but.
And I cannot lie, you others can't deny. Sorry, yeah.
Yes, exactly. he sings it really, really well. I don't like the theatrics that goes on in his performance. This playing with this dancer and doing these movements. It feels very forced and very like bad theater to me. Like a showstopper in a bad local musical production for me. And then I like the song. I like the way he sings it. But again, it's Eurovision in 2016, and I don't think this ballad style feels very contemporary, doesn't feel very relevant, and it's not very attractive. I mean, I enjoy it for as long as it goes on, but it's not the kind of song that I would wish for Finland to send to Eurovision in 2016. And I have a sneaking feeling he's one of the top favorites, but I wonder if it's inside the fan bubble again, that they are building him up, and then people in general will just think that, oh, that's a nice song, but then something else will grab them and they will vote for something else. I have a feeling he's not our winner this time either.
Okay, Janne, obviously Mikael Sari was the rightful winner in 2013 and was just robbed of victory. What do you think of his chances this year?
Well, he's lucky I'm not voting for any other entry as much as I did 2013. But Mikael Sari he has a great voice. I mean, the vocals are amazing. I have a problem with the song. I'd love to walk around town and sing it, but I don't know the song because there's no hook. There's no chorus. And so I know the first 3 words and that's it. It's hard to get a grip of the song. I think the staging it's not as terrible as Tobias said. I think it's...
But it is, though. It is.
I think it's quite interesting, the staging. Of course, you can make it even... you can make it better, but I like the thing. There's not that much in it, and I think that's good, because Mikael Sari's voice is the whole thing. The song is okay, but it sounds like a song from a musical, and the entry looks like something from a musical. Everything in it is like a bit of a musical. So I think Mikael Sari could make it, but the song is really difficult for a normal person to listen to and to love, because it's not built in a normal way. It's the same with Sara Aalto. That song has a catchy no fear part, but this one I don't know what I'm gonna sing from it when I try to sing it to a friend.
So basically you're saying it starts and then on it goes.
Then
and
on
you're just waiting for it to end.
Yeah, and I really like, because I think he sings good. I like it, but I'm not sure if it's in 3 minutes. Are people gonna fall in love with the song or not? They're gonna fall in love with him, that's for sure. And with his vocals, he looks awesome. He sounds good, but is the song too complicated? That's the question. I don't know. I think he's gonna be in the top though.
Yeah, I'd just like to be a bit more precise. I mean, what I would want him to do would be to work the cameras instead of doing all this dancing that is completely unnecessary. Get rid of the dancer and just work the cameras. That would make the song feel so much more relevant to the viewer, I think. And now it's just, he stands there and sings excellently, but yeah, on it goes.
But doesn't Finland have a culture where you don't take the cameras?
Oh, yes.
I'm not. Yeah.
Remind me, Janne, how many times did we win?
That one time when you couldn't see the eyes of the monster,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Bingo.
Okay, Gav, what do you think about Mikael Sari's song?
I quite appreciate the song, but I think it's a bit too highbrow for Eurovision. 1 of 9 in Finland, it'll probably do very well. And I think Mikael Sari's vocal is what will score in the points. I think he connects well on TV as well. He does give good camera. Towards the end, you can feel the kind of emotional build in his eyes. But I do think that dancer looks a bit too unnatural. It's almost as if they haven't quite rehearsed it fully. that it doesn't look seamless what they're trying to do together. So I think that's what makes it look a bit amateur, as Tobias pointed out. I'd like to probably see more development of that going into Eurovision, because actually I think probably Michael is the best option for Finland going to Eurovision. And even though I still think the song will be overrated in Eurovision, but I do think it's the best in terms of trying to get a jury score for Eurovision. I think it's the best option. But I do agree with Jana that there's no hook. There's nothing for people to invest in and take away. It's not the kind of thing you're going to play in your car and start singing along to. But I can appreciate it. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Gav. Personally, I don't get Mikael Sari. He doesn't do my kind of music. I really didn't like his song in 2013. And I think, well, for me, it's much the same in 2016. But obviously, a lot of people disagree with me because he's very well backed on Twitter. I know that, particularly for big Eurovision fans who thought he should have won in 2013, which is preposterous, but there you go.
Yes, preposterous.
Yes. Now we're on to the last three songs, starting with Tuuli Okkonen with Don't Wake Me Up. Janne, wake up.
Yeah, I do morning show, so actually I was sleeping before this interview. My voice is getting higher and higher as I wake up in this interview. Tuuli Okkonen, Don't Wake Me Up. The vocals weren't good enough in the semifinal, but I know she can sing, so I was a bit surprised, maybe nerves, and I guess it will be better in the final when the nerves aren't as bad. I hope so. And the song is it's okay. Unfortunately, it doesn't stand out that much, and neither does the performance, although the rain part is interesting. But she looks good. If she was a bit pitchy in the semifinal, but I know she can sing, so she should do well. She did miss a lot of cameras, unfortunately, but then that again in the final when they get to rehearse some more, I think she's gonna nail it. But unfortunately, the song it doesn't stick out, so I think it's gonna land somewhere in the middle.
Yes, I mean, I can agree with that. I mean, I did like the song, certainly when I saw the preview, but yeah, it wasn't great, you know. I just thought that's a quite good song. And, well, quite good shouldn't be good enough to win this competition, if you see what I mean, although quite good has actually been the standard of a lot of the representatives in Eurovision so far this year, sadly. Gavin, what do you think of Tuuli?
I thought the staging and the song was suitable for Eurovision, or one of the more suitable. But like Jana said, I thought she was a bit pitchy during the song. And I actually thought the vocal was a bit dull, a bit flat at times as well. But again, the song is a bit dull as well. It doesn't really kind of hit a peak. Again, it's got winner staging with sparks, so it'll be interesting to see how that does. But if it did, it does have a slim chance of winning, I must say, just to flag up. But if it did win, I don't think it would qualify for Eurovision.
Okay, and Tobias, what do you think about Ms. Okkonen?
Well, she's nice. That's the problem for me. That's the long and short of it. Nice has no place in Eurovision. Milkmen are nice. Postmen are nice. Neighbours are nice. Grandmothers are nice. Don't send them to Eurovision. Cows are nice. Don't send them to Eurovision.
Russia came second with loads of grandmas.
Well, yes, but they were more than nice. That was sort of the thing there. They had an edge to them somehow. But this song is such complete filler material. This is the kind that you always find in every national final in every country. It's well written. It's impeccable. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not developed enough. It's not a winner. It's just filler. It's just there to fill 3 minutes, and it won't stand a chance. Not here, not anywhere. But I hope that she will sing better in the final for her own sake and for the sake of her career.
Thank you, Tobias. Now, if you remember nothing else from this podcast, just remember that piece of advice. Cows are nice. Don't send them to Eurovision. We've all learned something today.
Good. I'm glad that I can pass my wife's words on.
Indeed, the little red book of Tobias Larsson. Yes. The penultimate song, and finally, in what is the rockiest country in the world, basically, the country that loves its metal and rock more than any other country, we have some rock. It's the Barbe-Q-Barbies with Let Me Out. I was quite relieved when I finally heard some rock in this lineup. What do you think, Tobias?
Well, I have to admit, first of all, that the lead singer of the Barbe-Q-Barbies is a friend of mine. We work together, so I might be slightly biased here, but it doesn't matter. I thought this is a good rock song for Eurovision because it's made the same way as Hard Rock Hallelujah was. It's basically a pop song that is going to a fancy dress ball dressed up as a rock song. And it has very clear pop handles, it's very easy to sing along, it has a good hook, and most importantly, when it was live, as live as things get on the Eurovision stage these days, but they managed to add that extra energy in the studio, which made me buy it and believe it, because in the recording it's good, but a little bit too soft. And then in the live performance, it got an edge that it didn't have before. So I'm very positive to this. I'm very happy about this one.
Gav, is that barbecue sizzling?
Yeah, I was quite happy to see this in the lineup. It's actually quite good to get a rock song in here. I didn't quite get the staging. Again, it was a bit dull for a rock song. I expected much more light and much more energy going on. It doesn't quite reach the heights needed, I don't think. I'm going to kind of go against what Tobias said here, is that I don't think it matched the studio version. I think it lacked a bit of energy for the live version. And I kind of, it reminded me of the Pretty Reckless in terms of where it wants to be, and it doesn't quite reach that aggression on stage to kind of call it a winner. I think if they can kind of portray that aggression and kind of thrash out a bit more, I think it does stand a chance, especially at this point in the running order. So I wouldn't say it's totally chanceless. I'd say it's up there, but I want to see a bit more ferocity from it.
Thanks, Gav. Janne, famously, Finland in Lahti every year hosts the World Air Guitar Championships. Is this a song that you could perform to?
I think I'd choose a song with a guitar solo, and there aren't that many guitar solos in 3-minute long Eurovision rock songs. So I don't know, but I have to say, when I saw this on Saturday, my opinion might have to do with the 4 entries before it, because they were quite pitchy and not that good. And then Barbe-Q-Barbies came on, and it sounded awesome. But I'm not sure if my judgment is clouded by the 4 entries before that. But I thought it sounded good. I kind of like this more than the studio version, the live version. I like it. I think it's a good song, but I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work. I thought it looked quite good. Of course, there could be tons of more pyro and so on, but you could spare that for the Eurovision if you go through. I thought it looked quite good, and that might be because I'm used to, and the camera guys and everybody's used to rock bands in Finland. They know how to make it look quite good, quite easily. We're not that used to big show numbers in Finland with dancers and Beyonce, Katy Perry-like shows. But rock bands, we've been filming those for ages, so we know how to do those, how to make those look good. So I thought it looked good. I thought it sounded good. And it stands out if you look at the final, it stands out. I think it's dangerous. It is really dangerous. I don't know how big of a fan base they have, but there's 5 people in the band, so that's 5 families with really good boyfriends that vote a lot, and we all know that can take you far.
Okay, so it's going to be decided by just 5 families in Finland. Yes, we'll see about the vote rigging later. Personally, this is my favourite, and just personally, because I know, having lived in Finland for 2.5 years, how much Finns love their rock. So if there's one country that should be represented by a rock song, it should be Finland, I think. But that's just my personal opinion. And finally, ending the show, we have Sanja with Sing It Away. Gavin, we'll start with you.
I think she looks the part, and she sells it very well on camera. I wouldn't totally rule it out, actually. It's kind of very 90s in terms of Eurovision appeal. And I think Finland would struggle with it to get out of semi-final 1. But I think it's okay. It surprised me, actually, because I only came back today to listen to all the songs again. And, yeah, it's okay. It's a nice ending to the show. Whether it will do anything, I'm not sure, but I don't think it's totally chanceless.
Not totally chanceless. Well, there's some words of praise from Gavin there. Janne, what do you think? Not totally chanceless?
I'd put it. I think this is the dark horse. I think this could win. She's good with the camera angles. The song is good. There's a hype now. Of course, this might just be my Facebook feed, but there's a hype behind her. And she sounded good, I think, and I think she actually might make it. And just a comment on Gav's remark on that she would have to struggle in the semifinals in the Eurovision. This is Finland. We always have to struggle. There's not an entry on this list that wouldn't have to struggle. So, but if we would send this, I'd be proud. I think it would be quite nice, a nice entry. And a fun fact would be that if there's the same choir, the girls that sing the backing vocals, there's Krista's Eurovision girlfriend is singing backing vocals, and she usually likes to go to Sweden for Eurovision, so she'd get to do that a second time. That would be fun.
Okay, thank you. So that was the end of that. I'll just do a quick, we're a bit short on time, so I'll do a quick round the table.
Maybe I would get to say something.
Or maybe I should let Tobias say something about this.
Let's pretend
Tobias,
this didn't happen. Cut this out and just...
Yes. Tobias, what do you think about Sanja's song?
I agree with everything Janne said, actually. For me, this was the big exclamation mark in this entire lineup, because I liked the song when I heard them at first, but the video clip didn't do much for me. It was sort of standing in the way for me. But then this performance and all the happiness and the energy that these backing singers bring into it, I love the staging. I love the way the backing singers contribute to the whole acts. I think it's wonderful. It's so uplifting. It made me think of Finland 2002, Laura Voutilainen, Addicted to You, but in a perfect world where that would have worked out. And I must say that when it comes to song-wise, I think that the bridge where the backing vocalists do their bit, that's the best songwriting we have this year in UMK, because it's someone who added that extra bit that wasn't needed. It's not chorus, it's not a verse, it's something different that just makes the song better. This is my dream winner. I hope Finland sends this to Stockholm.
Okay, so Tobias, is that your tip to win the whole thing then? Sing It Away by Sanja.
No, it's not. It's the song. It's the song I hope will win. But Finland is famously unpredictable when it comes to these things. Krista, I dare say, was third favourite in 2013, and then bang, she won it. I hope that Sanja has the same chances because of this. I still see for my inner self how Sara Aalto or Mikael Saari wins, which would be okay choices, but I hope for Sanja, so that's my tip.
Okay, Janne, your tip. Or maybe you can't because you're on the jury. But
I'm in
anyway,
the jury.
What do you think?
Well, it's gonna. I have to make up my mind on Saturday because all of these things. It's gonna be decided on Saturday if they perform. The performances will on Saturday will decide. Then we'll decide who's best. I will because they vary so much. I'd love to send Mikael Saari's first words. The last 30 seconds of Crystal Snow's song. That would be awesome. And then just the energy of the Barbe-Q-Barbies would be good. And Sanja's happiness. It's been proven in 2013 that it could work. the happiness and everything. So I'm not sure who I'm gonna give my votes to on Saturday, but don't count out Amy. I'm not saying it's my favorite that I want us to send it, but don't count her out. She might surprise, but we'll see.
Please, Janne, vote for Amy. Vote for Amy.
So we have the head of the Finland Svensk jury sitting on the fence slightly there. What everybody needs to know, though, when judging who to back in the Finnish national selection is a bloke from the West Midlands of England. Gavin, who's your team?
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be backing anyone. I can probably pick three that I think are in the running, and those are the people that have been mentioned: Sandhya, Barbe-Q-Babes, and Mr. Sari. Those three, I would say. So as long as you've got an investment on those three, I think you should be quite safe, and then just go and watch Aini win it.
Oh, well, personally, I'm just fingers crossed for the Barbe-Q-Barbies, but we will see. Right, now we have a special item right at the end. It is a quiz called El Duello. Now, this is shamelessly copied from Janne's breakfast show, where basically a caller calls in and competes against Janne on the subject of their choice, basically, and Janne shows himself to be the most competitive, most triumphant kind of 12-year-old inside the body of a 31-year-old that you will ever have met.
I'm a sore loser and a winner, so...
This is very true, but it's very entertaining. This time, the subject is Finnish Eurovision entries.
Is that Krista throwing plates?
Krista, yeah. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Krista, close the kitchen door. That sounded so chauvinistic. It wasn't meant to be.
Is there going to be a Greek element to the final on Saturday?
I'm not sure.
Okay, the subject is Finnish Eurovision entries. Our first entrant comes from Helsinki, and he's called Janne. Hello, Janne.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Hello. Okay, a couple of questions. Which country do you come from?
Finland.
Okay. Do you speak Finnish and Swedish?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Our second contestant comes from England, and his name's Gavin. Gavin, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Which country do you come from?
England, you just said.
Okay. How many times have you been to Finland?
None.
And how much Finnish do you know?
None.
Okay, so no pressure here.
I might be at a slight disadvantage.
Yeah, no pressure at all. There are going to be 5 questions. Comes down to the fifth and final deciding question. This will be a number question, and it will be the person who gets closest to the number who wins. Obviously, usually Janne writes this down on a piece of paper, but we can't see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Janne to answer the number question first in Finnish.
Yeah.
Because Finnish numbers are absolutely unrecognisable who don't speak Finnish. Okay, right. Now, what I would need you to do, if you want to buzz in, we don't have buzzers, you just shout out your name, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
So, and is it Janne and Gav or Gavin? This is really important.
You can do whatever you like, quite frankly. The adjudicator is Mr. Tobias Larsson. Okay.
Oh, it's whatever syllables can be projected from a mouth the fastest.
So it's either G or G.
Yeah. Good luck, Tobias.
Okay.
Thanks.
And Remember, buzz in as early as you like. Okay.
I'm nervous.
Question number 1. Come on, can you do it?
Come on, Janne! Come on!
Yes! That's the Janne I know. Yes. Question number 1. In 2012...
Gavin!
Ooh, he's buzzing in early and taking a chance.
That's really early.
Gavin, what do you answer?
If it's Finland 2012, I don't know. It's got to be winner or something like that. So, Pernilla Karlsson.
Pernilla Karlsson. The full question was, in 2012, the first UMK took place. Who won?
Damn!
Pernilla Karlsson.
I work with her. This is... I can't play this to her. She's gonna kill me.
Send my regards to Pernilla.
I will.
Yes,
Enjoy
I'm
work.
Don't worry, I'm sure she won't get to hear about this Twitter. Okay.
Nothing to Gav. That's impressive. Damn.
Okay. So, 1 to the bloke from England who's never been to Finland. 0 to the bloke who's spent all his life in Finland. Just pointing that out. Question number 2. Lordi famously won Eurovision in 2006. Before that, who was Finland's most successful Eurovision artist?
Janne. Marion Rung.
Coming 7th in 1962 and 6th in 1973. It was Marion Rung.
Gavin, wake up! Where are you? Come on.
Okay. Question number 3. It's 1-1. Monica Aspelund represented Finland in 1977 with Laponia. What was the name of her sister who sang Fantasia?
Janne. I hope it's Ami.
Who sang Fantasia in 1983? The answer is not Janne.
Gavin?
No, it is Ami. Yes, correct.
Thank you. It's good. It's the Swedish-speaking entries. I love this, and I'd be ashamed if I didn't know the right answers. My regards to Ami Aspelund. I think she's from the same town as me. Yeah.
Oh, from Ekenäs.
Yes.
See, I've been stalking you, Janne, for years. I know everything.
Yeah. This is scary.
Okay.
Ooh,
Question number 4.
Okay. So if I take this, do I win? Right?
Yes. I think you know the rules by now.
Yeah. I just want to tell Gavin this because then he gets a bit nervous and might shout too early. This is all tactics.
Okay. In 2013, Janne's fiancé, Krista Siegrids, won UMK with Marry Me. Who?
Gavin.
Who came?
Gavin.
Yes.
I think it's going to be who was runner-up. So I'm going to go say Michael Sari.
Who came second? It was...
No!
Here, Gav, you start to sing a little song, go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
I've got too many butterflies in my tummy.
And now we have a question, which is a number question. Okay.
Yes.
Janne, I would like you to answer first. Give me
Finnish.
the answer in Finnish. Okay. And then, Gavin, give me your answer. I'm ready to write it down. Don't worry. Okay. In 2006, Lordi won the Eurovision Song Contest famously for Finland. Finland's first and so far only victory. How many points did they score in the final?
292.
292. Okay. Gavin.
Oh, these are the worst questions for me.
This is awesome because I done research for an interview. So you're going down.
I don't know. I'm gonna take a lucky guess and say
You can draw here.
264.
264. Gavin said 264.
Yeah.
Janne said 292.
Now I'm getting worried.
Which means 292. The correct answer is 292.
Yes! Yes! This is hard!
Congratulations.
La 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 la. And then we have to go up. La 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 la.
I did warn you, didn't I, Gav?
Yeah, this is awesome. And it's so good that the question was Lordy's points, because we were arguing at work because they had the record for some time, and was it? Yeah, then was it Rybak or somebody who came?
Yeah, Alexander Rybak came and ruined the whole thing.
So I knew it to 1 point specific. I love this. Yes.
So, on that kind of somewhat victorious note, I say thank you very much to you for listening and tuning in. We will be back in a couple of weeks with our Melody Festival and final preview podcast, and hopefully Tobias will be able to join us then. And then throughout April, we will be recording a series of 4 or 5 podcasts previewing the 2016 Eurovision Song Contest. All that remains for me to do is to thank so much my 3 guests. Gavin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy.
Bad luck on that numbers. I seriously didn't know that Janne had been discussing this at work. I know I said I stalk him, but
it's the kind of thing that all Finnish people discuss regularly. How many points did Lordi really happen? That kind of discussion every week in Finland.
Was I drunk that night, or did we actually win Eurovision? Yes. Thank you so much, Tobias. We will talk again.
Definitely.
And thank you very much, Janne, and congratulations on being Euromind.
Thank you. I'll be back competing anytime you like.
Okay, wonderful. And on that note, it's me, Andy Redburn, saying goodbye. Goodbye.
ESCtips.com will return with another show soon. In the meantime, show us some love by following us and sharing this podcast with your Facebook and Twitter friends.